is everything you will need to make your Amigurumi Flamingo Floaty. Some pink yarn for the body of your floaty. This is Brava worsted weight in the color Cotton Candy. Some little tiny bits of black and white yarn for your beak. An F 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. This one is Clover Moore brand, which is my favorite hook brand to work with. A pair of scissors, some polyfill to stuff your pool floaty with. You're going to need more than this. That is just to show you what it is and to remind me to tell you that you need it. And I will be using these 8 millimeter safety eyes for my Flamingo pool floaty. But if you do not have these, you can also use puffy paint, and I will link all of this stuff for you in the description. Also, if you're feeling really creative, you can switch up the colors of your Flamingo floaty and you will get a swan floaty instead. This swan was made, the eyes were made with the puffy paint, so it looks a little different, but that is gonna be on there forever. It holds really well to crochet. And then this pink one here has the 8 millimeter safety eyes that I will be using on today's Flamingo. You will also need a stitch marker or a scrap piece of yarn to help you keep your spot when you're working in the round. Okay, starting with our pink yarn and our F or 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. We're going to make a slip knot and chain 48. Then we are going to join the ends of our chain together to create a circle, but we're going to be very careful not to let our chain get twisted when we do this. Join into our first chain with a slip stitch and chain 1. Okay, now we're going to start round 1 of our floaty, and we're just going to single crochet 1 time in each stitch all the way around for a total of 48 stitches. I like to put my single crochets in the back bump instead of through this part of the chain where you would traditionally crochet. So I'm going to single crochet around 48 times. Also, you may notice that I yarn under instead of the traditional, what most people do, yarn over. This creates a slightly twisted effect to the single crochet stitches. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but they're the two lines that make up the body of the single crochet are a little bit twisted. This gives you a tighter stitch and is really awesome for amigurumi pieces. I did not know this when I first started crocheting. This is how I taught myself through YouTube videos and such, and I've just kind of always done it this way. But I have been playing around with crocheting like most people do by yarning over. It gives me much looser tension and much bigger stitches, and it's not great when I do it for amigurumi because my projects become super holey, and when I yarn under they're much tighter, which I don't think that is just because I'm yarning under. It probably has to do with my tension since I'm not used to yarning over, and also the way I hold my hook and the way I hold my yarn would affect the tension as well. So that's just a little tidbit of information. I'm going to continue to crochet 1 time in each back bump all the way around until I have a total of 48 single crochets in the round, and we will not be joining into the top of our first stitch. We will just pop our stitch marker in and continue on with round 2. I will show you that in just a minute when I get back around to the beginning of my chain. Okay, after I do my 48 single crochets, I'm just going to put a stitch marker in the 48th stitch. That way I know that is where my next round will be stopping. So when I get to this stitch, I'm finished with round 2. That's what that's going to tell me. And to start round 2, we are going to increase in the first stitch. So right here on top of our first single crochet that we did in round 1, we're going to increase, which just means putting 2 single crochets in the same space. 1 and 2. Then we're going to single crochet 5, so increase in the first stitch, then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that is going to be our repeat. We're going to start again with our increases, so I'll increase in this stitch, then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. I'm going to repeat that for a total of 8 times, giving us 56 stitches in the round. So increase in the next stitch, then single crochet in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 2 repeats. I'm going to repeat that for a total of 6 more times, giving me a total of 56 stitches in the round. Okay, I am finishing up round 2. This is my last stitch, is going to go in there with that stitch marker, so I'm just going to pull this guy out, put my 56th single crochet right there, and then put my stitch marker right back in there so I know that is where the end of round 3 will be. For round 3, we're going to increase in the first stitch, so right here in that first single crochet, we're going to stick 2 single crochets for our increase, and then we are going to single crochet 1 time in each of the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That will be our repeat for this round. So increase in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 6 stitches. Do that all the way around for a total of 8 repeats, giving us a total of 64 stitches in the round. So I will finish up round 3 and come right back with you guys to get started on round 4. Okay, coming up on my 64th single crochet, that's going to go right here where my stitch marker is. I can pop out my stitch marker and move it up into the space that I just made. Now for round 4, we're going to increase in the first stitch just like we've been doing. So 2 single crochets right here in the same space. 1, 2, and then we are going to single crochet 1 time in each of the next 7 spaces. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That will be our repeat for this round. So increase in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 7 stitches. Repeat that around for a total of 8 times, giving us a total of 72 stitches in the round. Okay, coming back up on my stitch marker, I'm going to place a single crochet in that space, then move it up and get ready for round 5. For round 5, we're going to increase in the first stitch. So 2 single crochets together in the same space for our increase, and then we are going to single crochet 1 time in the next 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that will be our repeat for the round. Increase in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 8 stitches. We're going to repeat that for a total of 8 times, giving us a total of 80 stitches in the round. When we come back to our stitch marker, we will get ready for rounds 6 through 9. Coming up on my stitch marker to complete round 5. Now for rounds 6 through 9, so 6, 7, 8, 9, the next 4 rounds, we're just going to single crochet 1 time in each stitch, giving us a total of 80 stitches in each round. So I'm just going to single crochet 1 time for a total of 4 rounds, and then I will come back when I'm about to complete round 9, and we will get started on round 10 with our decrease stitches to turn this circular shape into a donut shape. Okay, I just finished rounds 6 through 9, which was just one single crochet, and I'm getting ready to start round 10, which is our first decrease round. So we are going to start by putting a decrease over the first 2 stitches. I like to use the invisible decrease technique. So you go into the front loop only of the first stitch, wrap your hook around and go into the front loop only of the second stitch. Grab your yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. That is our decrease. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that is our repeat. So decrease, single crochet 8, do that for a total of 8 times, giving us a total of 72 stitches in the round. I'm going to finish round 10, and then I will come back and we will do round 11. And my last stitch in round 10 goes where the stitch marker is. Pull up the stitch marker, and now we're ready for round 11. We are going to decrease over the first 2 stitches, just like the previous round. Insert into the front loop, insert into the front loop. That's our decrease, and then we're going to single crochet 7, one time in each of the next 7 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is our repeat for the round. Going to decrease over the next 2 stitches, then single crochet 7, repeat that for a total of 8 times, giving us a total of 64 stitches in the row. Coming up on my last stitch where my stitch marker is. Now we are ready for round 12. We're going to start by placing a decrease over the first 2 stitches. Then we are going to single crochet 1 time in each of the next 6 stitches. 5 and 6, that is our repeat. Continue that around for a total of 8 times, giving us a total of 56 stitches in the round. And then we have round 13 left, and then the body of our flamingo is complete. Coming up on my last stitch in round 12. I'm going to put my stitch marker back to know where to end round 13. And for round 13, we're going to start with a decrease over the first 2 stitches. Then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5. Repeat that section with the decrease and then the 5 single crochet stitches. Repeat that whole section 7 more times, giving us a total of 8 repeats and a total of 48 stitches in the round. And our last stitch. There we go. Now we are finished with the body of our flamingo, and now it's time to turn it into a donut shape. If you remember, row 1 had 48 stitches, and just ignore this little discoloration over here. And round 13 had 48 stitches. Now we're going to join round 1 with round 13 to make our donut. And I'm going to start by just folding this in half, like this, just to kind of let the stitches line up where they naturally fall. That way our body doesn't get twisted at all. And we are going to be using the join as you go method, and that's going to give us a very clean seam. It's even hard to find it. So this right here, this is our seam using the join as you go method. If you use the slip stitch method, you will have a extra lip on the inside of your floaty, but this is the join as you go method. Makes it a very nice flat seam to work with. To do the join as you go method, we are going to put our hook. So when you go in the round, you get a little bit away from your starting point. That doesn't matter. All that matters is that we get them lined up like this without getting it twisted. If you did get it a little twisted, it's probably not going to affect it too much. I mean, nobody's going to know it wasn't made twisted intentionally, so I think you'll be fine. Don't stress about it. But we're going to smush them closed and look down here at round 1, and I'm going to place a single crochet right there in that first stitch that lines up with this stitch over here in round 13. Let's see. I'm going to go right here in this stitch. This is the one that lines up with the next one in front of me for round 13, and I'm going to place my single crochet right there in that stitch. And then I'm going to take my hook out of my working yarn, go into the same stitch in the last round that pairs up with this one. So they're in the same spot, they're just on different rounds, if that makes sense. And then grab your working yarn again and pull it through that space, and that's 1. Let's go in the next stitch over here in round 1 for our single crochet. Remove our hook into the next stitch in round 13, grab our yarn and pull it through. That's 2. And we are going to continue this way all the way around. That's 3 until our flamingo is completely closed up. That's 4, and it will be for a total of 48 stitches. I really like the join as you go method. I use it for a lot of things. So if you can get the hang of it, it's super helpful and makes a really clean seam. After you do a few stitches, you can go ahead and stuff this little, I really don't need this. I'm obviously going to know where it ends because it's already bunched up. So I'm just going to take that off of there. And then once you get a few stitches, you can see your donut shape starting to form. And I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of polyfill down in there as I go, because it gets a little bit tricky to stuff it if you go too far without stuffing. So I'm just gonna kind of stick some in there and then continue closing it up and adding some stuffing and closing it up all the way around until it's completely closed. Now look what I did. Okay, sorry. Hoping I'm not making your car sick. I am going to continue closing this guy up and stuffing as I go, and then our donut is complete and we can get started working on our flamingo head when I get back. That came out real country. Head. See you back here in just a jiffy. Okay, after you finish joining and stuffing your donut, you can cut your tails and sew them in with your tapestry needle. I had to maneuver this one out of my way while I was trying to stuff it. And it's a little difficult stuffing these things at first, but you'll get better the more you practice. If you guys have any better stuffing techniques, feel free to put those in the comments and let's help each other out a little bit. Okay, sew these in with my tapestry needle. And there's just a few little holes there from the stuffing, stretching it out and stuff. I'm just going to kind of use my needle to close that up just a smidge so it's not so gappy. I'm gonna sew in that last tail right here, and then I will come back and we can get started on our flamingo head. This little guy. Okay, to make our flamingo head, we're going to start with the magic circle. I'm gonna do that a little bit slower. And then we are going to single crochet 6 times into the center of our magic circle. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we can pull our tail and close up the circle. This is also going to be made in the round. So I'm going to just stick my stitch marker in the last stitch so I know where to stop for round 2. And in round 2 we're going to increase in each stitch around, giving us a total of 12 stitches. So I'm just going to insert my hook in the first stitch and put 2 single crochet stitches right there for an increase. 1, come on, there we go. 2. I'm going to do that in each stitch around until I have a total of 12 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, and then I'm going to take out my stitch marker. 11, 12, and put my stitch marker back. For round 3, we're going to increase in the first stitch and then a single crochet in the next stitch, and that will be our repeat. Repeat that 6 times, giving us a total of 18 stitches in the round. So we're going to increase in the first stitch and then single crochet in the next stitch. That's 1. Repeat. We're going to do that 5 more times. Increase, single crochet, that's 2 repeats. Increase, single crochet, that's 3. Increase, single crochet, 4. Increase, single crochet, 5, and last repeat, increase, and then a single crochet where our stitch marker is, and then put our stitch marker back and get ready for round 4. Rounds 4 through 7, we're just going to single crochet 1 time in each stitch around, giving us a total of 18 stitches in each round. So 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to have 4 more rows of 18 single crochets. Okay, finishing up round 8. Now I can move up my stitch marker, and I'm going to go ahead and sew in this tail just so it doesn't get left behind. Okay, and now we can get ready for round 8. I think I said round 8 already, but I meant 7. I have done rounds 1 through 7. Getting ready for round 8. We are going to start with a decrease over the first 2 stitches. So I'm going to insert my hook into the front loop of the first stitch, whip my hook around, insert it into the front loop of the second stitch, and place my single crochet there for my decrease, and then we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. That's our repeat. We're going to decrease and then single crochet all the way around, and that's going to give us a total of 12 stitches. Okay, there we go. Now we have round 9, and we're going to increase in the next stitch. And you might think, why all the increasing and decreasing? We are making his little neck. See how his head is bigger than where his neck is? That's because of the decrease rows. So that's why we were doing that. For round 9, we're going to do our increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet to get us back up to 18 stitches. So increase in the first stitch, single crochet in the next stitch, repeat that 5 more times, increase, single, that's 2, increase, single, that's 3, increase, single, that's 4, increase, single, that's 5, and last time for 6. And then we can move up our stitch marker. He is coming right along. I can't remember if it's difficult to put the safety eyes in after this, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'm going to make a note to make sure it says it in the pattern. If you aren't using the safety eyes and you are using the puffy paint instead, then you can just skip this step and keep on keeping on. It doesn't matter where they go because it's made in the round and it's a circle. It just matters where they are to each other. So I'm just going to stick one here, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 under, like just past the 4th round, so in between 4 and 5. And I'm just going to shove it through the stitches, and I'm not going to put the back on yet until I see if I like it, and then compare it to my other guy too. Let's look at this guy. Okay, so he looks like we've got maybe 3 stitches in between the eyes and in between 4 and 5, so that was a good, went with my gut there. Now, so let's put our next one, we count 1, 2, 3. Let's go right here. Where's my... Okay. Okay, let's give that a look-see. Pretty cute. So now I'm just going to pop the backs on, and then these guys will be pretty secure. Okay, and now I'm going to add a little bit of stuffing as well. And for rounds 10 through 18, we're just going to single crochet 1 time in each stitch around, giving you a total of 18 stitches in each round. So that's for rounds 10 through 18, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 9 more rows. So after I got a little bit of stuffing in his head so I can make it nice and shapely, I'm going to finish the rest of his neck. And then we can make our beak. Attach the beak and then attach the head onto our floaty and we'll be good to go. Okay. So I'm just going to continue single crocheting one time in each stitch around for 9 more rounds, and that will give us 18 rounds total for our flamingo head. And after I get finished doing that, I will come back and we will make our beak. Okie dokie, I just finished my flamingo head and neck, stuffed it, and it will get sewn on to the body over here. So I'm just going to tie off, but make sure to leave a very long tail for attaching this guy onto the body of our floaty. And then we can get started on our beak. And it's okay that this stuffing isn't wanting to stay in there because once I sew it down, it'll be secure between the two pieces. Let's try this again for the third time. Third time's a charm. Okay, we're going to start by making a magic circle. Single crocheting 5 times inside that magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, giving us a total of 5 in that round. And go ahead and pull our tail and place our stitch marker. For round 2, we're going to start by putting an increase in the first stitch and then single crocheting in the last 4 stitches, giving us a total of 6 in the round. So we're going to place an increase right here. 1, 2, and then single crochet 1 time in 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, giving us a total of 6 in the round. 3, 4, 5, and 6, right where our stitch marker is. And we can move up our stitch marker. For round 3, we're going to start with a single crochet this time. So we're going to single crochet 1 time in each of the first 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to increase in the next stitch right here. 4, 5, and then we have 2 more single crochets to complete the round for a total of 7. 6, and 7 goes where our stitch marker is, so we can take that out. Now for round 4, at the end of this round we're going to switch to our white yarn, and I will show you that here on camera. For round 4, we're going to start by placing an increase in the first stitch, so right there, that's where our increase is going to go. Then single crochet 1 time in the rest of the stitches, giving us a total of 8 in the row. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and then our 8th single crochet is going to go in the last stitch, but we will be switching to our white in this space, so I'm going to start my single crochet like I would like normal, but then I'm going to drop the gray and pick up my white and pull that through to complete the stitch. Now we are going to be using our white yarn for the rest of our beak, and you can go ahead and clip off your gray yarn as well. For round 5, we are going to start by single crocheting in the first one time in the first 4 stitches. So 1. It's a little tricky after switching colors for the first stitch. 1. We're going to do that 3 more times. 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to increase in the next stitch and then end the row with 3 single crochets, giving us a total of 9 in the round. 1, 2, 3, and we can move up our stitch marker. For round 6, we are just going to single crochet 1 time in each stitch all the way around, giving us again a total of 9 stitches. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 where my stitch marker is. Now we can tie off. I'm just going to slip stitch down in the next stitch to cut my yarn and tie off, leaving a long tail for sewing our beak onto our flamingo head. And we also need to go ahead and take care of these tails before we flip our beak right side out. So I will sew these 2 tails in and this guy off camera, come back, flip our beak right side out, and then attach it to our flamingo head. Okay, so I lied. I sewed in my first tail and then I double knotted these 2, and then I'm just going to use this as stuffing and flip my beak right side out. It's not super easy to do because it's so dang tiny. Ugh. Okay, there we go. Give it a little shaping and then just shove those 2 guys down in there as stuffing. I was going to add a tiny bit of stuffing, but I think these 2 tails will do the trick. If you still need to add some stuffing, you can do that. It's just a tiny bit. And now we can sew this guy onto this guy. Isn't he cute? Look how cute. Okay, so I forgot to mention in the beginning that I use sewing pins for this, so I'm gonna go grab a couple. These are totally optional. They just help me keep everything in place while I'm sewing. I'm going to put it just like this, so the bottom of my beak where the seam is, or the knot is at the middle of the bottom. That's the goal. Then I'm going to pop on some sewing pins to hold it there, and then make any adjustments if necessary. And now I'm going to whip stitch these things together. Be careful with the pins because they will get you out the other side. So I'm going to use my tapestry needle here and whip stitch this on there. And to do that, we're just going to go into the flamingo head like that, and then into the beak like that, and pull through. Super simple. Just keep adjusting your beak after each stitch. Into the flamingo head, into the beak. Here we go. I'm kind of digging the gray with this bubblegum pink. That was a happy coincidence. Okay, and next one. I'm going to continue whip stitching this all the way around until it's completely attached, and then we can sew our neck and head onto our body, and then it's ready to go. Just a quick disclaimer while I have you here and I have a couple minutes of talking time. These are not made for the swimming pool. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but just in case, these are just for looks. They are for pretend play. They are not for going in the swimming pool. They probably won't do a very good job at floating anything, and they will get soggy and weird since they are made with acrylic yarn. So just a quick disclaimer, these are just for pretend play. They are perfectly made for Crafty Friend stuffies, which are my easy little amigurumi stuffies that I have here on my YouTube channel and also on my blog at craftyconcept.com, which all of that good stuff is linked for you guys down below. Okay, now that we have our beak sewn on, oh my gosh, his little face is so cute. I just love it. We can tie off down here. I'm just going to pull this tail down into the body and out the back. Nice and snug so it's in there, and then just clip this off, and it should hide into the body of our little flamingo here. Ta-da! Ugh, I love the gray beak. Happy accident. So cute. Now, this is the hardest part in my opinion. See, you can see that this guy is not, he's not looking straight. He's way off. Like he should be like this. But he's not. He's more like this. Can you see that? So you want your beak to come straight off. I mean, you can maneuver them if you needed to get a good picture or something, but if you didn't want them, so that's where it's going to be. And honestly, it's not bad. They look really cute that way. It would just be ideal for them to be, that's just personal preference. So if yours is a little crooked and you like it, then go for it. But I'm going to attempt to make mine not crooked this time, so we will see. And I'm going to use my 2 pins here to hold it in place. Right on top of your floaty, so not like at an angle, just right on top of it. And I'm going to add my pins again because that's my secret weapon. Back with my tapestry needle and the whip stitch again. Okay. Wish me luck. Here we go. Into the body and then up into the stitch. Can you guys see that okay? Pull it through. My pins are useless because this needs so much handling. Okay, first one down. You're going to go, I'm just going to remove the pins. They're not my secret weapon for Flamingo pool floaties, apparently. So I'm going to just have to eyeball it, and that's probably why my heads are always crooked. Because I can't use my pins. It's a little awkward. Okay. Hopefully we can make some adjustments as we go to keep him straight. Oh, look at that. Daggone it. Man, this flamingo. I told you sewing on the neck was the hardest part. Okay. It's so awkward having to sew it onto this ring down here. Okay. We'll get it. Okay. Okay. I'm very excited to see if this gets straight, even after all of this struggling, because it could happen. That might have been the hardest part on the inside of the ring down there. That might get a little easier, so that's good. I know my daughter won't care. She won't even notice. And I know that my Mia Moo Moo cows won't care. They're just gonna be excited to go pretend swimming in the pretend water with the pretend floaty because it's not a real floaty. Now would be a good time to add a little bit more stuffing if you needed to. I think mine has plenty, but if yours was feeling a little bit unstuffed, you could add some more before you close up this little hole down here. Just a couple more stitches and this guy is finito. Okay, now let's have a look. How crooked is it? It's really pretty straight. Let's see. It's pretty crooked. Well, that just adds character to the handmade thing, right? We're not machines. We can't get it 100% accurate 100% of the time, but this is 100% adorable. Isn't it cute? All I have to do is tie off and sew in my tail, and then this guy is ready for pretend water. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoy this Amigurumi Flamingo pool floaty. If you make one of these cuties, be sure to tag me on social media at a Crafty Concept. I would love to see them and leave a comment telling you how amazing you are at crochet. Also, if you like this video and you want to see more crochet patterns, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I try to post a couple videos a month of free crochet patterns and business tips teaching you how to sell your finished crocheted pieces. Until the next video, see you later.